Hello everyone, welcome to Aptera Owners Club. In this video, we're going to talk about the Aptera as an RV tote or dinghy. So tote or dinghy is the word used for the vehicle that an RV will tow behind it as it's moving around. And the reason a lot of people use a tote or dinghy is because once they get to a campsite, if they need to make a grocery run or go, on a little day trip or something like that, it's kind of inconvenient to drive the big RV around, so they have a smaller vehicle that they tow behind it. And the Aptera initially looks like a great fit. It's very light. It's under 2,000 pounds. It has a lot of cargo space. It has great fuel efficiency. You could plug it into the like if you were at a campsite and they had an electrical outlet, you could get kind of quote free charging from the outlet. It's got solar charging, so it would charge as you're sitting at your campsite. So a lot of advantages for the Aptera as a tote or dinghy for an RV. And I think with the right workaround, you could definitely make it work. The biggest problem with the Aptera is actually its width and the fact that it's an electric vehicle. So the most common way that people tow a tote or dinghy is to flat tow it, and that is, let's see here. I'm going to look here. Okay, so they do this. So they basically have a tow bar, and they have all four wheels of the tote or dinghy on the ground, and they just pull it, and they put this thing in neutral, and they just tow the vehicle. This is the easiest way to do it because once you get to the campsite, you just unhook the tow bar, and then you can just use your vehicle. This is not a practical way to tow an Aptera or any electric car because the electric motor will act as a generator. It'll cause a lot of drag on this thing, and it'll make the fuel efficiency of the RV go way down. And then also the problem is as you're towing it, you will likely be charging the electric vehicle, and then once it reaches battery capacity, or even before that, it may start the system overheating. It'll overheat the motors as it acts as a generator, and may overheat the battery and cause damage to your car. So flat towing like this is not practical, and probably cannot be done with the Aptera or any electric vehicle. So then the other option is to put it on a, let's see here, I think I was on this one. Yeah, this is called a tow dolly. Tow dolly is basically a small trailer with small wheels that you can load the front end of the car for a front-wheel drive vehicle. So this is where the drivetrain is. The rear wheels are just, they're not connected to any kind of transmission. And so you can just tow it like this by lifting the drive wheels off the ground. Now, if you had a Aptera that is front-wheel drive only, this seems like a perfect solution. You could just put the front wheels of the Aptera here and the single rear wheel, which is just is not hooked up to any kind of drivetrain, would stick out the back, and then you could tow it. The problem is that the Aptera is 88 inches wide here, and then if you take the wheel pants off, it's still 85 inches. And I looked into these tow dollies, and the widest tow dolly I could find was 81 inches from wheel to wheel. And you see the problem is that the wheel that's on the ground has to be wider than the wheel that's on the dolly. And since the Aptera wheels are almost as wide as you can get, you're not going to be able to fit those in between the wheels of the tow dolly. I found this interesting picture of this kind of tow dolly, which is basically a bar, two metal bars that your front wheels kind of sink into and you can hook up. And I looked around to see if anyone sells this kind of apparatus, and I could not find it, but I saw this picture. This would work well with the Aptera because it's lifted off the ground, and if you found a setup like this, you could tow the Aptera with this. Now, the other way to tow that a lot of people tow is with a car trailer. So this is a popular way to tow a car as well, and this would work, but then you see the same problem here. The bed of the trailer has to be narrower than the wheels here. And so an Aptera will not fit through here. The widest of these that I found was also about 82 inches. So an Aptera would not fit in these. Now I saw this picture and I could not find any place that's selling this kind of flat car trailer. But if you found a car trailer like this, where you see the bed over goes on top of the wheel, so you see the difference between that and this. See this one, the wheels, the bed is in between the wheels, and in this one, the flatbed is over the wheels. So if it's over the wheels, this is much wider, and you can make these almost 100 inches wide. And this is kind of the same setup as a flatbed tow truck. A flatbed tow truck's about 105 inches wide, so it would easily accommodate an Aptera. And if you found a trailer like this, it would easily accommodate an Aptera. So an Aptera, I think, would be a perfect towed or dinghy for an RV. But in order to make it work, you would have to find either a flatbed trailer like this, or one of these weird tow dollies like this. That doesn't have its own wheels and looks like it's hooked up directly to the tow hitch somehow. But if you were to find this, I think it would be perfect because it's very light. It's less than 2,000 pounds for the standard version. It's highly efficient. You could get free fuel at the campsites by plugging it into the RV outlets. It would get free charging while you're towing it from the sun, as well as when you're at the campsite. And it's so light that even a Class B RV would be able to tow it. Class B RVs generally have a towing capacity of between 3,000 and sometimes up to 4, a few maybe up to 5,000 pounds. So most vehicles are above 3,000 pounds in weight, and especially if you add the weight of the flatbed trailer, they're going to be over 3,000 pounds of weight. But an Aptera would easily be under 3,000 pounds in weight, even with the flatbed trailer. And so even a small RV, like a Class B RV, could tow that vehicle. So I'm sure many of you guys know more about RVing than I do. So what are your comments? Do you think that an Aptera is going to be a good towed or dinghy for an RVer? Or is it just too much hassle to try to find this and use a flatbed trailer? I know most people prefer the flat towing like this with the tow bar because it's much more convenient. But if you found something like this, would this be a workable solution? And has anyone seen this before other than in this picture? And does anyone know where to get this and how this thing works? All right, love to hear your comments. Thanks for watching.